Hi, I'm Michelle Fox, and we are going to continue our conversation about personal branding. In the first video, we talked about a color palette, how colors can evoke a certain feeling, and what feeling do you want your personal brand to evoke in the people that are viewing it. Now we're going to talk about font pairings specifically. That is what the letters actually look like that are on your website, in your logo, your business card, how they work together, the feelings that they evoke, and how that all comes together, how it works with your colors, how it works with the name of your brand, or if you have a persona. We're going to pull all of that together and make sense of it today. It doesn't seem quite as much fun as choosing colors, but there is a science behind it, and we're going to dig in and figure it out so that you can have that checked off your list. It's one more thing that helps you look polished and professional. And it's something that no one is going to probably say to you, I love your font. But when you don't have it working for you, it shows. Versus when you do have it working for you, it really shows and people really respond, whether they realize that's what they're responding to or not. When you see something that a professional website designer puts together, or graphic artist puts together, or someone in advertising versus someone who is not in that profession, there is a huge difference. If you had to look at a grouping, you would know which one the professionals put together. I guarantee you would. That has to do with their understanding of pairing fonts. Also, as your eye is reading things, your eye gets tired with certain types of fonts. You can process things better and more quickly with certain kinds of fonts. So all of that is significant. Whether it's sexy or not, who's to say? But we're going to start with that. I'm going to show you my brand board. We'll just start there so we can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about here. So I'm putting that on the screen. We're not talking about logos today. We're talking about fonts. So up at the top of my brand board are logos, and my logos all have fonts. I'm using fonts in the logos. Sometimes I'll pull those fonts down and say, okay, I'm going to continue that thought and I'll use those same fonts in my website. But not necessarily. You're not bound to that. You have a little more creative freedom when it comes to your logo. You're going to probably use some kind of either script or something that's extra fancy, a decorative type font. Whereas this area over here on the right side, these are the fonts that I use consistently in my website, and they are designed to work together. The top one, this is like if I have a heading, that is the font that I would use. This is if I have just something extra special. I don't use that all the time. The open sans light is like in my paragraphs, but it would not be all caps. I have the option either all caps or not. Some fonts only offer all caps. That's a little side note. And then the shadows into light is another decorative font that I just use occasionally. But you for sure will have a large font for like display or for headings. You'll have a modest font for your paragraphs that is easy on the eye. And then you'll usually have like a smaller version of that in case you need like a tiny caption under a photo or something like that. So this was where I started. Let's see. I'm going to take that off. So the main kinds of fonts, if when people are talking about, well, is it serif or sans serif? I never really knew what that was. I heard it, but I didn't know what it was. Serif just means that it has the little feet on the bottom, how it has like that line right there. That is serif. It is a very traditional font, sort of old time. Sans serif does not have that. It is more modern, clean, easy on the eye. Script obviously is cursive. It's more decorative. That's not something like you would not have an entire paragraph in script. That would be very difficult to read. Display, again, it's great for like a focal point for like a boom, something where it's just an announcement or something, but you would not do a paragraph like that. So, obviously you really need to figure out your bold font that's going to be your heading, and then your modest font. Those are the big things that you're going to be focusing on. This is just another one. If you wanted to, really get down to the nitty gritty, there's old style, transitional, modern, slab serif, sans serif, script, decorative. There are lots and lots of different kinds of fonts. It will blow your mind when you start looking into this, how many fonts there are. I had no idea. Here I'm showing you some font pairings. I wish I could make it a little bit bigger. It's kind of a strain on your eyes, I know. This is exactly what I'm talking about, where it puts the three things together. It's saying this is the font for your headings. This is the font for either subheadings or, minor bits of copy. And then this is for body copy, like when you have long paragraphs, like a blog or something. Normally, when this is done for you, like if this were your brand board, instead of saying the word headings, it would have the name of that font. Every font has a name. Okay. So whoever would be creating this for you would actually have the name of the font there. So here, let's see. So here she has again, she has the word subheading and then heading. And then this is what her paragraph would look like. But just looking at it, it's easy on the eye. It's very clean. It's legible. It feels good with these colors. It's modern. Moving here. So this has its own feeling. It does feel fashion forward. It's saying this is the script or the font that she would use for a heading. That font has a name. This is for her subheading, and she's going a little bit crazy using a script. And that's fine as long as you're not putting long passages in a script. You will not see script very often in font pairings, but it is there occasionally. And then this is what she's using for her paragraph. Tiny font is a really big thing right now. So, but you got to make sure that it's, people can read it. Like my old eyes struggle. So remember when I showed you on coolers.co how you could just start clicking your space bar and it would put different colors together for you? Well, there's something like that with fonts. This one is called fontjoy.com. And this is going to put 3 fonts together for you. So this is your heading, subheading, paragraph. And either you like it or you don't. Okay. So, and we'll generate again. Some fonts they will do in italics. I'm not really a fan. So you would keep clicking it until you find something that you think, oh, wait a minute. I do like that. I like that. And then you can lock it in. So this one now we're saying, okay, keep that one. I'm not sure if that's legible enough. And really, I love this, but let's just see what else we can find. And then you keep clicking through until you find something else that works with it or that you like together. Canva also has a lot of fonts put together on your behalf, and that's really a cool thing. But there are countless combinations. Like you could be doing this for hours. All right, let's just say we want this one. This happens a lot where you'll have one that is serif and one that is sans serif. And then it's kind of up to you how you want your paragraph. That goes both ways. It's sans serif is really popular, but I definitely still see a lot of serif. And you can't have all 3 the same. You can. But so you can kind of go through. So this only puts fonts together that work. So there are some pairings that just wouldn't work. There's like too much foo-foo. And so this is helping you, just like putting the colors together that work because they complement each other. This helps you in that way. So let's see. So to find out, so that's how you find out the name of it. So this top one is E.B. Garamond. And this middle is Questrial. And this one is Arima Madurai. Oh my goodness. So another thing is that if the font that you're using is extremely rare or random, you're going to have a hard time being consistent with it. So a lot of fonts are available for free in Canva, WordPress.com, Wix.com. If you can't find a font that you want, a little rhyme, you can download or you can go to Google Fonts, and oftentimes there are free fonts there as well. You can search the internet for fonts, and oftentimes they are free because it's someone has created that font and they just want to promote their thing. But some you have to pay for. It's like a copyright. Somebody has created that look. They're hand drawn, and so you have to pay for it. So you got to be careful that you might see something online that you think is really cool and think, "Oh, that's going to be my font," but make sure that that's available at no cost. Okay. So these are the fonts that were kind of preset for me by someone else who said, okay, these are good fonts for you to have for your website. And so this is just an example that whenever I go to my website and create something, if it's a heading, it automatically uses this font. Okay. And if it is a paragraph, it automatically uses this font. I don't have to tell it, I don't have to remember. This is all like pre-programmed. And even down to like when I do my blog, sometimes I want a big heading and sometimes I want a smaller heading. So that's H1, H2, etc. And so all of this is recorded. No, what's it called? It's a default. These are all my default fonts, which makes life easy. So once you know what your fonts are and you have a website, you would have like a preset of your fonts. And just trust me, it makes life a lot easier. So there are things that you can read online about how to choose a font, because just like the colors, how they can elicit a certain feeling, so do fonts. I think that you would agree that the real old fashioned kind reminds you of like of newspapers and things that are classy and old style versus something that is very clean and crisp. So it's interesting to kind of read through like where did the fonts come from, what's their history, if that's something that interests you. If you don't give a hoot, it doesn't really matter. This one I really liked because it has just a lot of visuals, but understanding the font categories, again, like old style, transitional, etc. But it just kind of helps you see how others have used that. That helps me a lot. Like, okay, so what was their logic? What is the feeling that Coca-Cola and Kellogg's and Lindt chocolate is trying to elicit from me using that font? These are all companies that have been around for a long time. They are feel good, they're comfort food, sort of. So these are more casual, fun, youthful. So it's just fun to kind of look through and see what others have chosen and why. So I'll have these listed in the description of the video. And I think that was the last visual that I had. So not a complicated concept really, but something to start thinking about. And probably the best place to do that is Canva. Let me show you some examples in Canva of font combinations. It took me a minute to find that. So if I wanted to just kind of change up the fonts in one fell swoop, I can come here to styles and look at these are colors and fonts that they've put together. Here are just font sets. So they just, okay, look over here. Let's click on all these. So I can click through the different font sets and it's going to change this whole page. Okay, so let's do that again. So I click that. All right, that's awful. Click that. So you can kind of see how the different font sets give it a different feel. And some of them are harder to read than others as well. So this is kind of a fun way to put something together. I actually kind of like that. And then just click through and see what it looks like, or what the feel that it gives you, the feel that it feels. So anyway, so this is in Canva, and it used to be on the side here. That's what it took me a while to find it. But now it is when you are in your document and you have templates and you have styles, you click on styles. And I believe you can even change the colors. Yeah, just look at the different color palettes. So let's say I'm like, okay, I want to ditch this whole pink color palette thing. Let's kind of click through and see what this is going to give me. So that's just kind of fun and crazy, isn't it? But I'm into the fun aspect of this stuff. So I should probably go back and put this back how it used to be. So if I haven't shown you this, up here, the back arrow, you can always fix anything that you do if you change your mind. So, because I do that quite a bit. Okay, so now we'll get out of there. All right, so that's that. All right, so nothing earth shattering, it's not super brainy, but something to think about, something that's kind of fun to play with. And the next thing we'll talk about will be logos. That's a big one. That one takes some time. There's so many to look at, there's lots to think about. This one definitely becomes a symbol that represents your brand. You can hire people to do this. You can hire people to figure out your fonts, to create your brand board. Somebody is more than happy to do all of this for you. You can go to Etsy, you can go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, or just look around on Canva. So lots of ways to approach it, but it's something to start thinking about because that all is part of the branding package. So short and sweet. Hope you got something to chew on. Next time, logos. All right. So get ready because that's a big one. I'll see you then.